Got a CA fault code on this thing. It's a Dixell controller, and I've looked it up. I've not got the instructions on site, so I've looked it up on the phone, the PDF of it, and CA is Serious External Alarm. And after looking at the diagram, it's off of the digital input, which is 9 and 11, and she's on there, 9 and 11. Off of the wiring diagram, there we go, they actually run the pressure switches through the controller, so if the pressure switches go open, it turns everything off. So I think it's time to get the gauges out, see what it's doing. I put the gauges on there and there's nothing in there, about a pound, so some pressure in there, and hopefully we can find something. It's on 404, so 100 psi would be 8 degrees, so it should, the whole thing should cope with a standing pressure of 100 psi. Alright, let's shut that off. I expect it to be quite a big leak if it's got down to 0, so hopefully we might even be able to hear it. Right, we've put a bit more pressure in it, 140 pounds in there now, and it's dropping slowly. I can hear something, but I've got tractors going in the background, so I can't hear exactly what's going on, but it's got a sloping condenser on it. It's just like a little package through the wall cold room chiller unit, and the bottom half of that condenser looks oily, so I think the problem is that's where the problem is. Right, well, we couldn't see anything on the condenser. We took the front panel off and had a go in there. So then we started thinking, well, the top of this is oily, and I thought it had dripped onto it. The same with this is oily. And all here, and it does match with whether it dropped, dripped out of the condenser with the airflow. And then we started thinking, well, maybe it didn't. That's the discharge pipe off the compressor. Seems to have a crack in the inside of the pipe. With a bit of luck, we might be able to braze that up. It's probably cheaper than a new condenser. Well, like a lot of things, they get worse before they get better. You take the mounting bolts out for the compressor to get a bit more room. Moved it, and where the pipe's twisted, opened up wherever the crack is, isn't it? clean that up so there's frames on there. That's it. It's going to be fun. Can't take that cord off. They've screwed it to the wall on the other side. The other side of that is a wall. So, less said about that, the better. Well, it's certainly not going to win any beauty contests, but seems to be holding. It's quite tricky getting the torch in there, really. Needs a lot of heat because it's right on the body of the compressor, and it's just full of valves and cables, and obviously they must brace that up before they assemble it into the box, into the chassis. Put it on a jig. It's an interesting compressor, made by Colthorne Kirby, made in Thailand. Anyway, leave it on pressure test for a bit. I think what was happening was the oil mist from that leak was coming out and the fan was drawing it through the condenser, and that's why this was wet. So rather than it dripping on it, it would come upwards. Same with this here, and the whole top of the compressor was oily. So I think that was the problem there. It's probably metal fatigue or manufacturing defect on that bend, which is right on the inside. I keep hearing bubbling, but it's I've got a new. I use these yellow dusters for bags. I put a new one in the bucket, and it take a while before the water soaks into them properly. I think that's every now and again I hear a bubble burst. But, I'll get some thicker leak fluid on there, and we'll leave it for a bit, and then if that all looks good, we'll vac it out and charge it up and keep our fingers crossed.